Good day, everyone. I'm Carmina Jade and I will be your discussant for today.
My report is about the categories used to analyze, adapt, and construct teaching materials. But before we proceed with the categories, let's define teaching materials. Teaching materials refers to a spectrum of educational materials that teachers use in the classroom to support specific learning objectives as set out in lesson plans. Ideally, the teaching materials will be tailored to the content in which they are being used, to the students in whose class they are being used, and the teacher. Teaching materials come in many shapes and sizes, but they all have in common the ability to support student learning. What is the importance of teaching materials? There are three reasons why we need teaching materials in our classroom. First is student learning support. Learning materials are important because they can significantly increase student achievement by supporting student learning. For example, a worksheet may provide a student with important opportunities to practice a new skill gained in class. This process aids in the learning process by allowing the student to explore the knowledge independently as well as providing repetition. Learning materials, regardless of what kind, all have function in student learning. Next is lesson structure. Learning materials can also add important structure to lesson planning and the delivery of instruction. Particularly in lower grades, learning materials act as a guide for both the teacher and the student. And lastly, differentiation of instruction. Differentiation of instruction is the tailoring of lessons and instructions to the different learning styles and capacities within your classroom. In analyzing, adapting, and constructing teaching materials, it is very useful to develop a set of formal criteria. It may seem overwhelming to use or make criteria. That is why it is very useful to rearrange the random list of universal criteria into categories which facilitate focus and enable generalization to be made. We have 5 categories, and these are the following. First is content. Second, quality of content. Third, potential effectiveness, ease of use, and comments. Let us go through these 5 categories. The first category is content. Content manifests or translates the 4 components of the curriculum. These are the aims, content, learning and teaching strategies, and assessment for the purpose of student learning. Let us remember that content should be current. The resources is not dated in its content, language, or visuals in any way that reduces its educational value. Second, content is accurate. Possible problems in content accuracy include the following, like outdated information, factual errors, and improper use of statistics. Scope and depth of topics are appropriate to student needs. It means that the treatment of topics satisfies learning outcomes and is at an appropriate level of detail. And the last one, level of difficulty is appropriate for the intended audience. Concepts, visuals, vocabulary, and internal structure are developmentally appropriate and are meaningful to a broad range of abilities and achievement levels. The second category is the quality of content. In this category, we need to determine the extent to which the learning material is adult appropriate and is appropriate for the targeted cultural group or delivery sector. It should also be culturally relevant and aligns with prior background knowledge. What are the examples of questions that we will see in this category? We have questions like, are the learning objectives clear? Or is the content appropriate to the needs of the cultural group? Our third category is the potential effectiveness as a teaching learning tool. In this category, we will determine the extent to which the learning material can be adapted and enables you to deliver task-based learning that meets individual needs. We should remember that teaching material should be engaging and it should spark in students' interest. It should also be appropriate material by skill level, language ability, cognitive capability, and learning style. Here are some examples of questions that we will see in this category. First is, does the material present opportunities for task-based learning? Or does the material satisfy the various teaching and learning styles? The next category is called the ease of use. In this category, we will determine the extent to which the learning material allows you to support flexibility and self-directed learning. Materials should be easy for teachers, students, and parents to use. So here are some examples of the questions that we will see under this category. First, we have, does the material support self-directed learning? Or does the materials present information in appealing ways? And our last category is called comments. Comments provide more detailed information about the teaching material. Information that might help other practitioners or learners evaluate and select appropriate learning materials. So in this category, we can include teacher comments, opinions, and reviews. We can also see the ratings based on use by teachers with information about student characteristics. So for the criteria and format that you can use in adapting, analyzing, and constructing teaching materials, this will be further discussed by the other presenters from our group. So again, we have 5 categories, and these are the following. We have the content, quality of content, potential effectiveness, ease of use, and comments. And that's the end of my report. Thank you very much for listening.